Okay guys, so we're going to take off the front tire of a 2006 GSX-R motorcycle wheel. It's pretty simple, straightforward. It's very similar to the rear tire as far as ease is concerned. Some people will use a 1-inch Scotch tape against the back side of their rim so that they don't scratch it here on the inside when they're taking off the brake caliper. You will have to take off the brake caliper on both sides of the bike, which is done by this bolt right here and this bolt right here. Those are a 12 millimeter bolt size, so you will need a 12 millimeter open end wrench or even a closed end unless you're having a ratchet end, which doesn't really fit very well. You could also use a socket. You will also need your 12-inch crescent wrench again to take off this bolt right here. Before you take off that bolt, you're going to need to do these two bolts right here, the pinch bolts. You'll need to take those off on both sides of the bike. So both sides of the bike, you're going to do the brake caliper and the pinch bolts on both sides. And like I said, a piece of 1-inch Scotch tape on the back side of your rim to prevent any rim scratching if you're concerned with that. 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 3 bolt, 4 bolt. So five bolts on the other side of the bike, 4 bolts on this side, 9 bolts loosened up total, and you should be able to drop your wheel out. We're going to go ahead and set the camera up, try and get it in a good angle here for you guys so you can see everything I'm doing. Try to angle this a little bit better. Alright, now I've already done a little bit of pre-loosening of some things. So I'm going to start with the 10 millimeter to get this off. You don't have to back them all the way out. You just want to take the pressure off of them. But make sure you got your bike on the bike stands. That's an important thing. I'm going to go ahead and take off this brake caliper on this side so I'm not bouncing back and forward from side to side. Unless you got pretty long fingers, your brake lines get in the way trying to take this one off by hand here. I'm fortunate I have long fingers, so it's not too much of a hindrance on me. And this is just going to slide back. You're going to pull it out away from the bike. If you put your finger on the back of it, you can kind of avoid the whole Scotch tape and everything. It is going to be a very tight fit, but when you're sliding it back, kind of angle it around towards you. Just like that. Your pads are going to be in there. It's a good idea to check your pads and see if they're worn down while you're there. You can let these dangle. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to move to this. Get this at the right spot and size. I think I got a little too tight. I'm going to have to loosen it up a little. Now, if you're going by millimeters, it looks like that is a 20 or 21 millimeter bolt, but I'm just using my crescent wrench and my mallet to get that started. I'm not smacking it extremely hard. I'm just getting it started enough to where I don't have to really crank on the bike. Again, I don't have an impact driver here with me, so that's why I'm doing that. This bolt just kind of loosens out real easy. I've got that hand loose. I'm going to move to the other side real quick. I'm going to take off the stuff on the other side of the bike. It's got to move some stuff aside from another repair that I have going on here. with my stator and my rectifier. I've already replaced once, and I think that my stator is bad again, unfortunately. Put in here, and like I said, I did do some pre-loosening of things. Get this one off. Please don't mind the dirtiness of my bike. It has been down for a little while, as I'm far too busy to get this thing back up and going as quickly as I'd like. Probably should have just taken it to the shop, but I didn't want to spend the money. Plus, I like making YouTube videos and figuring out how to do this stuff on my own. Okay, so again, you're going to pull this out, and you're going to kind of try to rock it back towards you. This side is a little bit tighter than the other side, so you're going to see and feel a little bit of contact, but pretty simply, that comes off. And we're going to get back to the 10 millimeter. Get these loose. Of course, one of my neighbors wants to start cutting his grass now. Those are about hand loose, no big deal. And now, should be able to punch this bolt through, I believe. We're going to step over to the other side of the bike. I left the threaded bolt that I had still in there. I just didn't take it out all the way. Now I have. So now this was the bolt that I said was a 20 or 21 millimeter. I left that in there so that I could tap on it to get that started coming out. Similar to what we did on the rear, I'm going to put my front tire, my foot underneath that. I'm thinking I got to put this thread back in here a little bit, with a couple more taps. Might even need a little more of a punch to get this out. So it doesn't seem to want it to be going. So I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a socket that is just barely fits into the hole. Smaller one than that. But I'm grabbing a deep well socket. A little bit smaller. Okay, so just so I can show you guys what we're doing here, I'm going to take off my gloves, show you what I'm using here. Alright, so what I did is I'm taking your typical spark plug one ratchet socket, taking your typical spark plug socket that is a 5/8 or 15 millimeter. I'm just going to set it in there where it's not going to damage anything, and then I'm going to hold it, I'm going to take the mallet and I'm going to tap a little bit more. Put this back over here so you guys can see it. You guys should see it coming out of the other end. Again, I'm going to put my foot under here so that it doesn't just drop out on me. That's my phone going off. It kind of hits that little breaking point there where it just wants to pop out. Okay, so now my tire is wiggling. I should be able to just wiggle and pop the rest of that out. Then the tire should drop out fairly simple, fairly easy. So we're going to give this a little wiggle, just like that. It's the other side. Brake calipers off of there. And just like that, your tire is going to come out. Now, really good idea to get yourself a Sharpie marker or something of that nature. Write on your caliper or somewhere which side is the correct side, so that you don't have this spun around the wrong way when you put it back on. And make sure that you're doing it, if you're facing the bike, it's on your right side. If you were sitting on the bike, this is on your left side, so make sure you don't forget which orientation you have that. Now, if you have a paint marker, you can mark here and mark here the same color, and then you know to line up your color dots on the right sides. Alright, so that's pretty much it, and the putting it back on is the same thing as taking it off. You just go in reverse order. No real big deals. This is not threaded, except for on the other side where the bolt went into. That's the only spot that it's threaded into. And I believe there is a spacer on the other side of the bike where we took the bolt off. This spacer right here. Yep. So you're going to take that out so you don't lose that, and leave that on the side of the bike you have. And that's another good indicator of whether or not you're putting the bike in or the wheel back on the right side or not, because the spacer goes on the other side than this. The spacer does not go in here. If you try to put the spacer in here, it just kind of doesn't fit right. Not where it's supposed to go. It is supposed to go on the other side, and when it's in the other side, it fits a lot better. So there is no spacer on this side. There is a spacer on the other side. Like I said, if you want to get a colored marker and put a dot here and a dot somewhere on here so you can line up the colors, it's probably a lot easier than remembering which side you decided to take the bike off from. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we will see you guys again soon.